Your mic's
We
totally.
get
Oh my god.
everybody in. That was so weird. Hello.
Hello,
Forrest,
hello,
go ahead,
hello.
my man.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Kyber Cave After Dark.
Woohoo!
Woo!
What is cooking, everyone? Van, what's up in your world?
I'm here. That's always a good start. We just finished like cleaning up our classrooms, and we take kids in next week. So this is my last week of sanity, or last weekend of sanity.
I think this is everybody's last week of sanity. Certainly seems that way. Anthony, you look absolutely freaking gorgeous.
Woo!
Thank you, darling. The guild gave me the night off as part of our new PR campaign to get out there on the YouTube.
Fan freaking tastic. Dave, what's up?
Oh, just happy that another gloriously busy week is over and get to enjoy some downtime on the weekend. Gonna go for a big hike tomorrow with my son and doing some fun fencing and sword play on Sunday.
Woohoo! Are
Excellent.
you and
Say
Aubrey getting
long.
together?
Yeah, we started the choreography,
Nice.
Yes.
so it's off to a good
David got
start.
whacked in the head quite a few times last week, though.
Yeah, you know what? That knot stayed there for like 3 days.
Jeez, I'm crow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the thing is, David probably liked it though.
What happened?
That was my doing.
Explain the story now. You got to tell the story.
Yeah,
What's up,
yeah.
Ian?
Go
What's
ahead.
up, say what?
Take it away, Aubrey.
Ian.
David.
No, he said for you to tell the story.
Well,
You're the one who's taking credit for it, so it's your story.
short story is he didn't protect his head.
Aubrey's dishing
Actually,
out
there
those
was
lumps.
some really great my brain is not working today. I'm
We
sorry.
have no vocabulary.
No vocabulary today. No, we had some really great tit for tats. I have a couple bruises still. This one's just starting to go away. So I've got a couple, but and he did get me right across the ear.
Dang.
So there was that. That was my fault. I didn't protect my head.
What the hell were we doing again?
Batting with swords.
You fight with swords. No wonder.
Batting with swords. Yes. So yeah, so we were doing some sparring, and just as a friendly neighborhood reminder, David needs to protect his head more.
Mhm.
So Kyber Cave has we're doing a presentation along with the Twilight Knights out of Central California. We're going to be down in Antioch at a film festival in November doing choreography. So Miss Aubrey and Mr. David have a routine that they're going to be doing in front of an audience.
Yep, it's going to be awesome.
Who's
Yes, it is.
recording? Who's recording this? Because those of us here on the eastern side of the states would like to see this.
Well, Mezzo is going to be at that event as well. Kyber Cave is going down as a production company, as well as a choreography team. So we're going to have these two. Hopefully, we'll have at least one other demonstration, and then the Twilight Knights are going to be doing a demonstration with their group as well. But Mezzo and I plan on having a table up. We'll have a table that will have our merchandise, but we'll also have a table which actually will be perfect for you two. After you guys get done off of stage fighting, you can go sit at the table and sign autographs for Kyber Cave After Dark. And then, of course, Anthony, you are welcome along as well.
When is this?
We're not going to invite you, Forrest, because that's a long way to drive.
I know.
Or fly. But
Oh,
I
we gotta
really would
still
like
we
it
gotta
to
still
go.
invite him just so he can have the dignity of turning us down.
There you go.
Because I wouldn't have any dignity beyond that.
Aw.
Janina, hello. Yeah,
Hi,
so
Janina.
Hello,
hey,
hello.
hey to everybody in the chat. We have Say Wong, Ian, my
Hey,
boy.
Saquon.
Janina's
What's
here.
up?
So
Hey,
what's up?
Ian. Hey, Janina.
You guys don't forget to spread the word of our wonderful, magical show and get people to like and subscribe and all that jazz.
I got one at work the other day. It was amazing.
Ooh.
Woohoo!
Awesome.
Thank you.
Woot.
She
Everyone-
subscribed.
Everyone counts. And in fact, I don't know if Mezzo is watching, but I have a saber over here that I'm dying to give away. I just need somebody to do the little drawing thing. I'm not smart enough to figure it out. And I know Mezzo says it's easy, but until I have somebody actually show me, I'm not confident enough in my skills to actually make that happen.
You Gen X are you?
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so is the drawing going to be for comments that are posted tonight?
Well, like I said, if Metz is out there and we can get a comment wheel going, then we can do that. Yeah. I have this really ugly saber, possibly one of the ugliest and worst sabers anybody has ever seen, and it can be all yours.
Full screen yourself for that, please.
What was
Well,
that?
how alluring is that? Hey, it's the most terrible one I have. It's free. You want it?
I know, right? What kind of
Is that the
giveaway
muzzle
is that?
suppressor of a DL44?
This is,
What are you
yeah,
trying
that's
to
actually
pull?
It looks
that's
like
actually
what's
what
in
it's
my
kind of modeled
Jesus.
after.
Fan.
This was something we won from a company that shall not be named. Like
snap.
sometimes they give away extra saber. This is what they call a Frankensaber, and goddamn, is that a fucking Frankensaber?
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
want
that
it.
looks like you can really bludgeon somebody with that.
That
I
is a
want it.
pipe, my friend. You can actually either saber with that or fix up your toilets at home.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, hold on a second. I'll be right back. I'm throwing a comment in just to be sure. Actually, no. I'll just stay there.
Frank says, "Give it to me." You too can be the proud owner of the ugliest, heaviest, worst fighting saber known to man.
My luck,
I
that'll
don't-
be the
Kyber
one I
Cave.
actually
I
win
don't want
too.
it. I really don't want it. You can have it, David.
I'm not even going to bother because that'll be the one time I actually do win it. Okay.
Seriously.
I'll
All
just
right.
wait. I'll just wait for the one that I'm sure Van is graciously going to give me for the choreography. That
I mean,
Oh.
it is one of a kind.
or
That's
stunt work.
true. That is
Yeah, it
the beauty of it. It's one of a kind.
It's kind of like a pug puppy. They're just so goddamn ugly, but so cute because of how ugly they are.
If you say so.
PTSD.
God.
The only thing a pug is good for is to carry it around in case the zombie apocalypse comes and you don't have a snack.
Wow.
Aubrey,
Yes. Yes.
we skipped you. How are you, honey?
I'm good. I'm so sorry. You told me not to worry about the vocal recording. I'm good. Just doing stuff. I have an audition next week that I have to turn in for a film.
Ooh, what can
Right.
you give like tiny little hinty details?
I mean, it's a short. It's just a short.
Okay.
It's a low budget short. It's
Sweet.
just, but I'm excited. I'm excited to work with the director. We ended up talking for like an hour yesterday, but
Okay.
I still have to send in. I still have to audition and send in a video audition, of course.
Oh,
Gotcha.
look, it's Ned Flanders.
I was just gonna say. Stupid.
We get all kinds of celebrities on this show.
For
Wait,
real.
what? Who? I'm very confused.
If you look at the comments, Aubrey,
Hi, Diddy. Hi,
Ned
Diddy.
Flanders.
Neighborino.
Hi, diddly-o, neighborino.
Okay. Got it.
All right. So what are we talking about tonight, kiddos?
Woohoo! Our first topic for the night. Boom.
I have
Filters.
done it.
It's something I
Yeah,
don't
I haven't
possess.
done either. No.
So I threw this idea up, and I
Obviously.
give V all the credit for it, because
Because
this
he is
actually
awesome.
came from a Facebook post concerning photography and filters. Like, one of the comments I made on it was, you know, it's not what you see is what you get until you meet in person. There's really no point in putting a picture up and then doctoring it up and making yourself slimmer, or adding or taking away wrinkles and adding all these extra features and crap, especially if you're like trying to do this dating website thing or whatever. And my boy Jeremy just got in the comments. And and then when you go to meet somebody face to face, or say your profile gets checked by a potential boss, and then you walk in and it's like, that's not who was in the picture. So I don't know.
Catfishing.
I personally think
I mean, that's what I thought of.
I personally think filters are kind of a waste. I better to be genuine and honest. That's one man's opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Van, what do you think?
I definitely agree. Like the one that I see a lot that catches me off is like when you see the TikToks with the women who, I don't want to say that they don't look good, or they don't. Let's just say they're completely different in appearance, but they put on all this makeup and they look like you see it a lot in Japanese videos, Japanese makeup videos.
A lot of makeup there.
Right. Well, obviously that's a good testament to what makeup can do to transform a person. But just the videos where people start off one way and then they put on a whole bunch of makeup and they look literally like there's no way you could recognize them.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't understand it. I guess people always want to look their best, but like if you don't even look like who you are anymore, I don't know. Is there a point?
I think you're doing a huge disservice to yourself. I mean, say you go missing and they start looking for this, model, and you happen to look like a potato, they'll never find you.
All right.
Seriously.
As someone who wears a lot of makeup, I will say I take a little bit of offense to this. I mean,
yeah, I do too.
The transformation of makeup itself is quite astounding. You would never know unless you were in person that this is a flat surface. These are not really here. It's an illusion. There's a difference from that and then having someone go online and place a filter in addition to all of that, because that's totally terrible. If you're going on there and you have your makeup on and you look already good, hey, it's a lot of paint and spackle, but it's still technically you. It's just contoured. If you're doing it with a filter, though, that's completely changing your bone structure, what your actual nose looks like, even with all the makeup on. You know how many queens I see on a poster and then I meet them in person and I'm like, what the actual fuck?
Right.
You're makeup both of these and you still look nothing like yourself. But to be fair, to David's point, yeah, if you're using one of those beauty filtered and really pretty pictures, they're never going to find you.
Yeah, and there's a fine line between makeup and getting really gussied up, as we say over down here in the South, and using one of those filters.
Well, from a woman's perspective,
yes, please
do tell.
There's a lot of expectations in society about how a woman should and shouldn't look, and unfortunately, it creates a lot of very bad self-esteem issues. And filters, for a lot of women, help with that in a lot of ways. Now, I mean, especially in aging and, and all of that, women get judged a lot based on looks.
But they get judged by other women.
Have you ever?
No, they get judged by men. No, don't even do that. No, fuck.
Oh no, I'm flat out. I'm calling flat out bullshit on that. There's way there. No, you said there's a lot more. There's a lot more to live up to. A lot more standard. Okay, go ahead.
I'm telling this as a woman from a woman's perspective because I get that. On that end, it is not by other women. that I often get judged by, or that other women I have seen get judged by. It is often men behind computers, behind keyboards.
I've seen plenty of women judge pretty bitches.
I have seen that too.
They judge a lot of ugly bitches too.
I think you're going to get it from both sides.
Both right. It comes from both sides. Societal expectations of what a woman's supposed to look like is absolutely fucking ridiculous. But let's not be conceited here. The gay community is just as superficial too. In the straight heterosexual world, I would be thin, but in the gay community, I have dad bod.
Even though dad bods are kind of in.
Well, it might be, but I'm still gay fat. Like I'm not skinny. It gives me an disorder, and I think I actually look pretty good. But compared to some of these other bitches, I go out there, I look like fucking King Kong.
Okay, all right.
I think you look fantastic.
True.
But okay.
It's absolutely true. And yet at the same time, there'll be a bitch that's 385 pounds. Oh, you're sickening, queen. Yes. Oh, look at you with your potato sack of a dress. I'm going to throw all my money at you. You're just so stunning and brave. Beauty standards in general are fucked up right now.
Right. Beauty standards suck. Can we just agree on that?
Yet I will say I feel beautiful.
I'm glad you feel beautiful. It's good. That's awesome.
But
I'm just saying that women.
I hope you do too.
Not always.
I wonder about like you see like these Instagram models and stuff like that, and they do the photoshopping to make themselves look thinner or change their nose or change part of their appearance or what have you. But is that? I mean, like, do these people think that like they're not going to walk out in public and people are going to be able to see the difference? What is the mentality on that? Why do people change their appearance in pictures knowing goddamn well that they've got to go to their job tomorrow and Becky knows what the fuck she looks like?
I don't know, but for somebody, I'm going to say this is kind of back towards Aubrey's thing. For somebody like myself, who recently has been on dating apps, you see a lot of extra that you don't necessarily need to see. It's getting to the point to where, if I don't actually meet somebody and visually see butterflies flying around their hands or flying around their heads and sparkles popping out of their skin, I'm going to be really upset.
But that's ridiculous. No, and everyone knows that that's not real. Come on, that's fun.
But what I'm saying is that the expectations, at least not for me, they're not there. I don't have expectations like that. I'd rather see what somebody looks like to see what somebody looks like.
All I can say is I've seen a lot of men do this shit too, where they take a picture from them like 20 years ago, put it on there. This is me. And then you meet up and it's like, who the fuck invited Rip Van Winkle? What the fuck is this shit?
That whole judging on people's appearances has certainly changed even in the last 10, 20 years, certainly. And people and older men are feeling like they have to be something else. But in society, age old, women become crones and men become distinguished gentlemen.
It's also true.
That is very much.
I'm very attracted to some silver daddies out there. Where I'm like, ooh, you're 65. Do you have a pension plan?
So Aubrey, in all fairness, let me ask this question. So excuse me. So which, I swear to God, if you
in acting circles, I was told at 30 I was too old
to play a 23-year-old.
Okay, so
no, too old in general. I was too old than what they were looking for, which was fine. As soon as I told them I was 30, they're like, "Oh, you're over the hill. You're too old."
So then, what filters?
I kid you not.
Give me an example of what filters that you might deem necessary at this point in time. I guess, bring me into your brain here and show me what it is. I'm trying to understand.
So there are filters that, I don't really use them necessarily. They're for fun a lot of times when I do them, but I never take a picture with the filter. It's just the idea of if you want to not wear a bunch of makeup, but you want to look pretty. A lot of times people wear like foundation filters or just something that will
Skin
take some of the
smoothing.
skin
There's a
smoothing
difference from
and
something on your iPhone app versus going through Photoshop and completely altering
but
everything.
they've already. But if you watch the documentary series called "Killing Me Softly," they already do that. Airbrushing has been a thing that's been around for 40 years.
Are we talking just
Speaking of which,
airbrushing photographs of the body? Because that's a
I'm-
different thing.
No, that's part of the same thing where they do all of the changes that they do to make
speaking
a
of which,
make a
here
woman.
is a photo of our fabulous director. This is when she got a sunburn, but we are talking about the difference between makeup and no makeup. So she sent that beautiful picture, and you look fantastic,
Put a picture
Menzo.
of me as a man up on here first, then we'll talk.
But still, I mean, even that I don't feel is the same. I mean, there are some people that look completely different in their pictures, their profile pictures, or whatever.
Completely different though. Makeup is different than doing the
But makeup can still
graphic
change your
ones.
face completely.
Well, yeah,
The
no,
filter.
makeup
But it is an art. It's an art. I
It's
mean,
not
but
an
it-
art form. It takes what you have and accentuates what you want, and then brings everything else back. There's a reason why it's done the way it's done, but it's different from, say, one of these beauty filters that's on your phone or on your Instagram or even through Photoshop. Where, like, the Kardashians, I'm sorry, they do not look like they do in their fucking photographs. That's not their
I
actual
agree.
body.
Yeah.
I'm not talking I'm talking about in general, like where you use it almost like makeup. I'm not talking about where it completely changes, because I think it's an unhealthy beauty standard, no matter what. I think that's
Yeah,
really
no matter what,
unhealthy.
it supports it.
It's unhealthy to do that, but I do understand also there is a push in society, and again, there is changing things, but this has historically been that way of like aging with women. You could say all you want with it, but aging and women are not allowed to age, and that's really true. That's a society practice. I know that you guys may not agree with that, but I'm telling you, there are a lot of men who will say, no, absolutely not. Women aging is beautiful. And then they go for 20-year-olds. I'm telling you, this is the truth. I know I was a 20-year-old at the time. I don't know if it has to do with the power imbalance thing, but I
was going to say that's another dynamic as well. I mean, first off, we are a society, and I personally think we are controlled by advertising and commercialism, right? So we are a society that values youth. I mean, everything is about the young, because those are people that have the most expendable cash. Really, that's what it comes down to. But because of that, the marketing that goes that direction is always going to be valued towards youth. And a lot of those groups and companies are run by, older white men. So, of course, they're going to put themselves with the younger 22, 25-year-olds. But also they can control those women. Those are young women that are impressionable. And if a guy has a really nice car and a really great job, but he's older than, they probably can manipulate those younger women a lot more than they could a woman their own age.
Well, okay.
I'm guessing I'm not rich or powerful or
let me
anything.
just say this. That's why I've always liked Catwoman as a villain, because or an anti-hero, really. Catwoman was someone who understood, I can use my femininity as a weapon because men are stupid.
Right.
And they're susceptible to these things. If I play a certain part that they're expecting, I can exploit that. The other thing with women with power is that once a woman exhibits actual strength and power, she's a bitch. That's what she gets from all of her coworkers. That's what she gets from her subordinates. Well, she's a bitch. Even though the asshole in the room over here, Dave, who's doing the same exact shit.
Excuse me?
A leader.
Not talking about you, David. Just Dave.
Use a different name there.
Michael. It's Michael. Well, there you go. Excuse me. I wasn't intentional.
Browbeat that one for a minute.
Fuck, my glove ripped again. Whatever. Jeff Bezos. I'm gonna go with Jeff from now on. Fuck that motherfucker.
There you go.
What's up, Tyler?
It does.
So you think? So we're talking about the expectations, then, like it.
Expectation versus reality is
you have
already a dangerous road to go down with. Never have high expectations; they'll always let you down.
So
me.
yeah,
What's
so
up, Tyler?
I mean, but the pressures of society and pressures, especially if you're someone like a Kardashian or something, there is a lot of high expectation there, especially in the aging department of how it is something that is frowned upon. I'm glad it's changing. I'm glad that there are now, older women that are still that are breaking those norms and making it easier. But I understand why women do it. Some women do not like who they are. Some women are taught to hate their bodies, to hate their face, to hate everything about themselves.
Oh,
And
honey, we're all taught
Can
filters
I? Is it
filters
okay
are
if
a way
I?
around that.
Is
Yeah,
it
go
okay if
ahead.
I ask a personal question?
Sure.
Do you, in any kind of way, feel responsible for meeting these ridiculous expectations of people?
Do I feel responsible? I'm not sure what you mean.
So,
Please
okay,
clarify.
let me change the vocabulary. Do you feel obligated in any way to meet these ridiculous expectations?
Sometimes.
Really?
Sometimes, yeah, of course,
How
especially when I
come?
was younger. Because
Well, when
I
you were
had a
younger, but I'm
terrible
talking today.
because it gets ingrained at an early age.
Okay.
So
co-sign to that.
especially in the field
Full
that I'm
screener.
in, especially in the field that I'm in, which is music and art and acting, absolutely.
Okay.
But I've come a long way. I mean, I was really overweight when I was a teenager, and I worked really hard to get to where I am. But yeah, either it was weird. I was not someone who's considered pretty, or I was the overweight kid, and suddenly it just became the hot girl, and the hot girl was not a fun place to be either.
It's
So
a double-edged sword.
it's a double-edged sword. So expectations. So there is a part of where, and you get judged a lot for being pretty as well. I mean, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. It doesn't really matter. You're going to be judged, and that's kind of the way. That's why I'm like, whatever, filters, okay, sure. You want to go and do that, great. If you want to have fun with it, fine. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at the point, because I've gotten to that point where it's like I'm kind of fucked either way.
I mean, I can understand your point. I guess where I'm
And a
coming
lot of women
from.
feel that way.
I guess
I
where I'm
think it
coming
depends on
from
what
is
you're
that
using them for, though, right?
I
Like, it sounds like what these boys are talking about are dating apps, which I think is disingenuous in general. Like,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
if anybody's
Mhm.
using a filter or other shit, and it's different from makeup. She can wear that same makeup in person
But
at the bar, and she's gonna look like that, right? But if she uses a filter, it's a little bit different. Same thing with the guy. If he's doing some tricks and shit like that, it's being disingenuous. Just be you. Be happy with who you are.
There's actually an article of a guy who tried to divorce his wife because he married her and then found out what she looked like without makeup.
I remember that one. It was an
Oh
Asian
my
man, right?
God.
Yep.
No, it
These
wasn't
things
that.
are not. These things are actually more common than you think. And he blamed makeup.
No.
He said women shouldn't be
What
allowed
I
to wear
remember
makeup.
seeing it was plastic surgery, right? He married somebody who was gorgeous, but she had all this plastic surgery, and then they had children, and they came out fugly as shit. And then he realized, oh, that wasn't what you looked like to begin with. That's not the genetic material I thought I was working with. And he
It could
divorced.
also be from his. It could also be
I
from
don't know if
his
it's the
genetic
same
material.
article, but it
But
sounds
okay.
like
It's V.
similar.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Veronica.
Thank God. I am so glad you are here. Thank you. I'm so glad I'm just so happy. It's just so great. Just amazing.
It's funny because you guys are all talking about looks, and I'm like, I look like hell. I just got back from Oregon. Yeah, I was listening a little bit before I came in, and it is difficult to be held to a standard. And yes, I do feel responsible to. Of course, I actually actively, I think, try to not follow those sometimes. I think it's psychological, where like women will often be like, I want a guy to go away, so I'm not going to take a shower today. Like I want him to like leave me alone.
Not like the other girls.
Yeah, not like the other girls.
Besides,
Yeah, like we play with our looks. I love the meme where it talks like about if if men knew that we could shapeshift, they would tell the church.
We do not tell the men that we
That's why they
shape
told them about the gays, dear God.
Because if we could shapeshift, they would start a mutiny. They would go and tell the church. Yes, that's an amazing short video. It's hilarious.
And it's really tough. We stay to these beauty standards, and some of them aren't even real. Where they have those filters, and I love the new TikToks are coming out where they show the filters, and they're like, this is a fish, a straight up fish, catfishing, where it's not real. There's makeup and
Dear God, I had it wrong all along.
unless you're Rubik's, and then like, holy crap, like, work it, girl.
Flat surface, people.
I'm always amazed by that. No, but I mean, it's true. Like, as I was telling them, I'm like, I don't know if anyone's seen Killing Me Softly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's this picture that it's perfectly the same thing. It says, like, what does Michelle Pfeiffer need? Absolutely nothing. The woman is gorgeous. But they did so many things to her picture that it was like, might as well been a filter, because it wasn't actually, because she wasn't basically allowed to age.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, I mean, they took a picture of her in her late 40s. Michelle Pfeiffer is stunning at any age. That woman is just amazing. But, a lot of people are like, oh, she's too old. And it's like, and that's beauty standards. Even before filters happen, all filters are doing is showing what has already been used in airbrushing, what's already been used in Photoshop, what's already been used in all these things. That is what filters basically do.
Oh, I agree. I worked in the I know it's strange, but I worked in the beauty industry for a while, as a fashion journalist and photographer, and I often found it even disgusting what they would do to a photo, to the point where it's like, that's not my photo. That's something else. That's not.
I mean, we're told that pictures add 10 pounds. So what do filters do? They will take away that 10 pound.
20.
They take
You
away
know?
30.
Or like the 20, yeah, photo 20. I've always heard it as being photo 10. But
Adds 10, takes away 20.
oh, yeah.
The picture adds the 10, the filter takes away 20.
I don't know. You've been using. I also, you guys saw that I used in the chat today, where I was like, you can't use a filter and look like Shrek and then expect that they're gonna find you if you go missing.
I mean, that is true. Again, the ridiculous filters, if you don't realize that's a filter, that's fun.
One terrible picture of you absolutely bare ass fucking naked, and then you're fine if you get kidnapped.
Now, I will say this, and please take this for what it is, and I'm not an advocate for it, but if you're somebody who is, you're modeling for money, or you're like an OnlyFans person, and you're utilizing a filter to disguise who you really are, so you can't be found on the internet, nobody knows who you really are, and you're protecting your identity, I'm all for that. Whatever, that's great, that's fine.
I was going to mention that earlier too. Yeah.
Filters are a wonderful way to protect one's own identity, which is fine. I guess my original point of it was, as much as there are incredibly judgmental people out there, and they have these redonkulous expectations. The older I get, the more I realize it's so much better to just be oneself. I mean, if people out there are really going to expect this perfect, super curved, perfect D cup, no wrinkle on the face woman all the freaking time, then maybe they don't deserve. Maybe they don't deserve.
Oh, they're most likely not going to ever get one. That's for damn sure.
There you go. You know,
all this talk about expectations on women, the same goes for us guys. We have a lot
Not
to
as badly.
live. Maybe not, but
Not as much.
we have it too.
I mean, it's
No,
no, it's only changed. It's only been much more within the last 10, 15 years. I'm not saying it's not bad for men too. I'm not saying there isn't a standard, but
the only difference is
women's expectations on men are not nearly as high as men's
No,
expectations
because
of women.
women want a man who can make them laugh. There are plenty of examples of just absolutely stunning women going for the most hobbit-looking motherfucker ever out there. And it's because he's got a personality, he might have a good job, he might have something that feeds into something else. That they're not as superficial as we are. There's a man out there who's got the most ripped six-pack, the biggest pecs, and a woman goes and looks at him and goes, ugh, he's a fucking douchebag. Now, a gay man, on the other hand, is like, Daddy, I'm taking you home, and I don't care if it's a weekend ride. Like, it's different. It's different, but it's there. Women do not have the same expectations physically of men as men do it on women in a heterosexual relationship. Hands down, that's absolute truth.
I mean, we like looking at our six packs every once in a while, but in terms of for a relationship, no.
And at the same time, there's a lot of homely ass men out there that are like, oh, well, why can't you go for me? I'm a nice guy. And there was that video where the girl goes,
you're not a nice guy.
You have something to offer? Because if you don't have anything to offer, then you being a nice guy doesn't do fucking jack shit. You have to have something substantially at least there. You got to make her laugh. Yeah, guaranteed, hands down. We want a relationship, be funny.
Well, shit,
not
I'm
only
screwed.
just be funny, but actually like
charming
and tall.
Actually care. No, but care.
Height seems to matter a lot.
I find short people attractive. Look,
have good conversation. That's really what it takes. That's it. Have personality.
The one question that I actually get asked the most.
Actually nice.
The one question I get asked the most during a dating app thing is I get asked, "How tall are you?" That question really pisses me off.
Are you a short man?
I'm 5'6", 5'7" with shoes on, but I think the next time I get asked that one, I'm just going to say, "How much do you weigh?"
Oh Jesus!
I think you're actually putting a lot more projection on it than women are. Women just want to know, like how, asking what's the weather.
I've been unmatched off of that question alone. Before.
I mean,
I can
it's better
see
off
where the short thing comes into play. Absolutely,
I do. I've seen a lot of men like, yeah, well, I got made fun of for my height, and it's like, okay, well, that's silly.
But it's reality.
It is. It is.
Then,
there's no filter for that. But there are elevator shoes.
I will admit that I've been known to go after only guys who are taller than me. Oops. But I'm 5'9", so yeah, there's a small.
Yeah. Kevin Hart is married, but he's rich.
Yeah, I think that's a very apparent thing. That is a societal expectation that men are supposed to be this big, tall, strong thing. And even if you're like bigger, if you're taller, that works. But if you're like a very short, big guy, then it's gonna be a lot more difficult. It's hard to find the girls that are into like the chubby hobbits. I'm sorry, that's a niche market for certain.
I don't know. I kind of like my Roger Rabbit.
I want to be in her heels and have to look down and bend down for a kiss. That is no woman's expectation to dream.
What about in the gay community? What about the gay community?
Well, okay, gay community is a little bit different, right? Now, when I see a short person, typically people are going to think they're the bottom, right? That it is kind of the smaller person's the one taking the dick. That's not always necessarily true, but it is the expectation or people's projections there within. At the same time, I'm a 6 foot person. Like I'm with a shorter man. I like getting fucked all the time. Like I met me a little scrappy do little motherfucker. He's buff and cute, and hey, I'll take you home and put you in my pocket. That's also good. I have no expectations in that size. I don't mind if you're tall, if you're short. Like it really doesn't matter to me as long as I vibe with you. But But with gay men, it is again the expectation. If like you're on these dating apps and you're not an Abercrombie and Fitch model, well, you're better off just going out to the bar and meeting somebody who's desperate because they're gonna swipe right or left or whatever the fuck way is not. I never went on these apps. I found Grindr fucking horrendous. I think Tinder's terrible. Bumble fucking sucks. Get the fuck off these goddamn apps. Go out and meet a person and say, "Hey, excuse me, can you help me with this?" And then have a conversation and see where that goes.
There is nothing. Y'all can argue me into the ground with this. There is nothing that's going to defeat a hands down fantastic relationship, friendship that leads into something beautiful. Nothing. There is nothing in life that's going to beat it. No freaking app's going to beat it. No amount of money's going to beat it. Nothing's going to beat it. If you can't click with your significant other, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. It comes down to people being superficial or wanting more. If you're gonna be superficial, go on the dating apps. If you're desperate for that, then go for it. See what you catch.
The love of my life was on the short side, so.
David's wrong.
He was 5'9". He was 5'8", 5'9".
David's not wrong. I've been known to pull the high heel trick when I'm on a first date, or I'll go back when I was single. And it's funny because like my now husband passed the vibe check, which is kind of nice. I would wear like heels, like a platform heel or something, or a boot to a first date, and see if like he was shorter than me. It's something I did. I wanted a tall guy, and I wanted to see what he would look like when I dressed up.
See,
I didn't want him to be shorter than me.
I've heard that it comes down to it's a biological thing. For some reason, men that are taller were seen as better hunters because they could see over the higher grasslands and things like that. I find it amazing that a million years later, it still influences what we think. But it's just like they say, women with bigger breasts are preferred because there was the biological thought that maybe they could produce milk better. Who knows? Most guys I know aren't really that picky. I guess people have preferences, but if it's gonna go down,
I can speak for as someone who's blessed that we're slower though. Like running, we won't survive the lion chasing us. Because we're gonna be like
the zombie apocalypse. You're fucked.
Right.
Rule number 1: cardio.
When you have the actual bags that you can't unstrap, Rubik's, and you're running, it's like ow, ow, ow.
There is that.
Yeah.
Right? Oh,
yeah.
But you missed the whole front half, Veronica. That's actually flat.
Yeah.
So there's no bouncing. That's just a fantastic makeup job.
What?
Yeah.
Impressive, huh?
Wow, it's amazing.
Rubik's, you need to come do my makeup for me one day.
Let's see.
I said that too.
Oh my god.
Illusions. It's illusions. No filter fucking needed either. Just makeup. I don't take pictures with filters. I don't want, like, as a drag queen, I always like to be me, and you're gonna get what you see, which is this.
But honestly, Rubik's, I want to come over and have you. I want to come by and have you do my makeup and see what you can do.
We're
your magic, because I
promise you anything.
Because I'm terrible.
Very different than myself.
We're gonna talk about cleavage makeup and like do a tutorial.
Contour. It's all about contour.
See, apparently, I don't understand. See, this is why I'm like, my brain. I would rather get into a sword fight with somebody and see how they fight rather than than what they look like.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess the same would go for Rubik's too, huh? Sorry.
Oh my God, Rubik's.
Jumped that one in.
We've been talking about shows for you, dude. You totally need to do like a cosplay show and like do different like costumes and tell people how to put on their makeup and shit.
That'd be fun.
Boobs.
That would be that's right.
How to paint titties on a flat surface. Are you an A-cup? I can make you a triple D tonight.
No thanks, Rubik. I have enough. It gets in the way.
Oh my God, that would be the name of the show, From A to D.
Ah!
Wow. Wow.
Oh my god.
Dave, you want to segue us, or would that pretty much do it?
I think
Oh, I'm just, you know what? I'm all
Done.
about that cause. That's a perfect cause. I'm supporting your cause in that one. A to D. I love it. A to double D. A to triple D. A to triple E. I
AG,
support
mean,
that
there are
cause.
G cups.
I
Oh,
had to make
speaking
a
about
costume once
speaking
for a
about
girl's
supporting
match with
causes,
each chest, okay?
being supportive of friends and supportive of friends.
I will.
You know,
I will
God.
destroy you.
A to
David,
back strain. How about that?
on
Supportive.
Sunday.
Oh,
will destroy
my camera's
you.
too
I
far.
like that we have
not far
Veronica
enough away.
crying.
There we go.
Damn.
Supportive of friends.
Why is she?
Yep.
Everyone look at Veronica.
She's cracking up.
Van, move us into the next
Supportive.
topic.
Hey,
Next
you
topic.
go ahead. You
Next-
get the
next topic,
segue.
please.
I'll put up the banner.
I
You're
think I
gonna
segued
get,
that
just
one
get
really
several
well
more
right
lumps
there.
on your head there, David, on Sunday. Just say.
Damn.
All right. So support
I
it.
got
I
a
get
couple
it.
lumps.
Oh, I get it. Sorry, my bad. Support systems. Yay!
God, it took
You
me that long.
finally got it.
Fucking A.
Amazing.
I'm not
Holy
as smart. You're
shit.
much smarter. It took me a minute to figure. Oh, support. Yeah, I get it now.
Support. Support.
All right.
Oh,
So,
Support system. Yeah,
Wow.
Okay. And I'm done.
all right. So, topic number 2 of the night is support systems, and by support systems, here's how we're gonna break
We're
this
not
down.
talking about
A to
bras.
D.
So let's say, for example, you see a cause that you truly believe in, and you wish to support that cause. It could be a movement, it could be a person, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
Are we supporting? Do you find that people support these causes because they believe in it, or because they have friends who do it? Friends who are founders, friends who do it, or you're trying to support your friends just because they're friends. Take, for example, okay, let's say you get into Sabres and you love all the fonts and everything, and you support me because I'm your friend. Are you supporting me because I'm your friend, or are you supporting me because you think my work is good? That's kind of what we're talking about here. So, are we supporting people because of what they're rallied behind, or are we supporting them just because they're our friends? Go.
I'd say that's entirely
so
subjective
funny.
because you can
It's
be
very
you can be
subjective.
supportive of a friend and you're cheering them on because you're wanting to see people succeed.
Oh,
You know,
Cam.
They could
and
still
that could be
also be
that could be incidental between whether or not something that they're doing is something you particularly like or support. I'd say I'm more apt to support a friend because they're my friend.
Okay.
If it turns out that something that they're doing that I'm being supportive of is something that I like, well, that's a hell of a bonus, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it could work that way. But if you break it down, what is the sole like if you had to singularize it, making up words, if you had to give that a singular purpose, are you supporting the cause because you believe in it, or are you just supporting your friend?
Often,
Well, sometimes you're supporting causes, and that's how you make friends too.
often I already agree with the person. Like, I tend to agree with most of my friends. Not all of them, but I tend to agree with most of my friends on things, and I don't necessarily keep the ones I don't agree with around. So they're probably already very similar to me.
Okay. Rubik's, what about you?
Well, again, I feel like this is a very subjective topic because I think there's a difference between support in a belief system or support in a movement or a cause or supporting someone you love. If someone you love wants to go out there and do something that you might think is absolutely fucking ridiculous, but you want to give them the support because they need that to try to do it themselves, I say give it to them. Like, at the same time, if they're doing something that hurts them, you might want to tell them no. As someone who's got my own issues with things like that, there's a lot of things about my own community that they've gotten into that I question, and I say, hey, have you really thought about the way that you're saying that, or have you ever thought about the way that this is kind of coming off? And I'm instantly demonized because it's like, oh, well, you don't support me. And it's like, well, no, I do support you. I just want you to do it correctly. I don't want you to go out there and make claims or baseless things without reasoning or understanding or knowing where you're coming from. So I support a lot of issues. I can support the saying Black Lives Matter. That does not mean I support the movement Black Lives Matter, because sometimes that movement has got some sketchy ass shit in there. They've been called out recently where some of the people who founded it have taken millions of dollars, not actually done anything to benefit their own communities with it, but they're exploiting that cause. So there's plenty of clout chasers out there. There are plenty of people who go and say what they think is the popular thing to get people to like them, but they don't actually believe it. They do it to exploit those people. That's where I think it's wrong. I think if you're doing it for your own personal gain, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Well, if you're doing it for your own personal gain, then that person's not really your friend anyways, right?
Exactly. You're just doing it to exploit some other cause. If you're supporting a friend because you love them, then you love them. But at the same time, like say if my friend has an eating disorder that's going to negatively affect them, I'm not going to support that eating disorder because it makes them feel better about themselves. I'm going to say this isn't the healthiest thing you should be doing.
I like this comment, and thank you very much, James. Of course, James of Distance Nerding. If you have not checked out their podcast, what the hell is wrong with you? I support Art Van because he's my friend, and I believe in what he's doing, and in a way, supporting his goals and dreams. Right? So yeah, so we can support different, and even Fours and I, we were talking about before our relationship. The way that I met Fours was I was actually interested in his work. And, particularly one particular sound font of his. And then when we got to talking, I liked him as a person and, and we became friends. Right. So I think there's so many different ways. My question is, and I think this is a good place to go back to this one because we've kind of touched on a few times. But what about supporting an artist that you don't like as a person? Can you do that?
Can you say,
for example,
you clipped a little bit.
That's what I was.
Sorry. What about? Can you support an artist? We talked about supporting. Let's say you have a friend that's into. I have a coworker that's really into dog shows, and all day long she talks about dogs and competitions, and I really don't give a crap, but that's important to her, so I can support her as a friend, even though it's not something I really care about, right? But what if there's an artist that you absolutely love, like Fours? What if I absolutely loved your fonts and I just thought you were the top font maker on the planet, but then I found out you were a child molester? Would I still be able to go and buy your font if it was my favorite one, right? Like R. Kelly, he was still in Space Jam. Yeah, he still has I Believe I Can Fly. Yeah, so many. I mean,
that's talking about separating the artist from the art. That's when it gets to that point. And if the artist is dead, maybe, but the artist, I don't know. That's a hard topic about supporting art.
I mean, even you look at like Lewis Carroll, right? Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland was supposedly about a 12-year-old girl this teacher had an infatuation with. So does that mean we shouldn't read Alice in Wonderland?
I think that's a bit different.
I stopped everybody. Woohoo!
Yeah, you did.
How long ago was Alice in Wonderland made?
The book?
There's a lot of misconstrued information about Lewis Carroll and that whole thing.
Well, because at this point it's so ingrained in pop culture as its own thing. I don't think people think of Lewis Carroll when they think of Alice in Wonderland. They think of Alice, the Mad Hatter, the Cheshire Cat. They think of the world, even if they have never even read the book, right? It's kind of
but
like
you're still separating the artist from the art thing, right?
Yes, but okay, let's put this in perspective. So Bill Cosby was another one, kind of like R. Kelly, right? There's all this controversy about his actions back in the day using Quaaludes and shit. Yeah, I would never tell someone never watch the Cosby Show. It was never ever any good because of that action on his part. If the Cosby Show was a positive benefit beyond that one, watch the Cosby Show. But you shouldn't also deify Bill Cosby as like this great person either. I've never thought R. Kelly's music was all that great to begin with.
I'm
Michael
there
Jackson,
with
on
you.
the other hand, that one's a fun debate. Was he a child molester? Or was
No.
I was just gonna bring that up.
No,
Ouch. Yeah, 'cause
no,
I just,
no, he was not. I actually went down this whole rabbit hole because I was like, if he was, I don't think I could support it because I really relate to the guy. I sing all of his songs. I do all the,
But
I
that's
perform him a lot.
crazy.
So do I have to? No. And actually, I can tell you for the research I found, there's a bunch of evidence out there that support the fact that he actually was not a child molester, including the FBI coming to his house and confiscating all of his stuff for 15 years, found nothing. One, two, there is a phone call between Jordan Chandler's stepfather and Michael, and Michael is pleading with him to not make these allegations because it's not going to just ruin Michael's life, but Jordan's life as well. And he's pleading with the dad. And he goes, well, if you don't give me the money, I'm going to tell everybody this. I'm going to get the most nastiest lawyer. And it's on tape. It's recorded. I actually got to listen to the whole recording.
Wow.
And he's like, but this is supposed to be your son. Don't you care about him? Like, not only is this going to hurt me, this is going to destroy me, especially as a black man, even though I didn't do any of this, but that's your stepson. That's someone you're supposed to love and take care of. And there's just more and more and more. As I got into this rabbit hole, it was like just, and if you watch Leaving Neverland, there's also a lot of, that there's a lot, and I mean a lot of discrepancies already in the story. The stories are different. And because it's like, well, that's compelling, so I have to go look into it. But there's just so much evidence.
okay, how about we simplify this? So, like, okay, let's create a situation that pretend like you knew someone and they do amazing things, like they're famous and they know all these celebrities and got a lot of money and all this stuff, and you do fun things with them, and you guys are friends, but then you find out that they might be committing rapes or drugging.
Had that happen.
Yeah.
Had that happen. I had that happen. I was a model. I was a nude model, and I found out that the curator of the place had been accused of raping a girl. And at first, I wasn't sure. I'm like, well, there obviously is a reason why she brought this up. I mean, he never made me feel unsafe. He was my friend. But once another story came out, I was like, okay, that's it. I wash my hands of it. I'm not doing it anymore. I don't know, because it'd be easy if it's just one person, because there'd always be a personal vendetta. But once more people start coming out, more than just a monetary gain thing, then I had to distance myself. I couldn't be his friend anymore.
What about from the guys? Because it would definitely be a no for me.
It's a no.
Yeah, it's a no. But pretend like you don't necessarily have any evidence, but there's a whole lot of like evidence. How would you guys could you stay friends with this person?
I actually had this is making me think of an incident when I worked for a merchant marine company, and as a merchant marine, you work with people from all over different walks of life, all over the country, all over the world. And I remember specifically this guy who he was from Texas. I don't know where. He was an older guy too. Like, this was 15 years ago, and he was probably in his 60s already, getting really close to retirement, making a comment about giving his wife a good pop across the mouth for back talking. And in that kind of position, because I live where I work, I obviously didn't say anything, but I distanced myself from that person. And I was younger too, so I don't know if I might have responded or act differently or said something, had I been the age that I am now. But at that time, I was like, oh, this is a much older guy, and I don't, I got to live on this ship with this guy for the next, 30 days. The last thing I need to do is have him think I'm some little California, bitch boy or whatever.
I think another good example would be like take Arnold Schwarzenegger for as an example. Like he was Mr. Universe, he was the Terminator, you know, and then one day he was the governor of California, and I remember the backlash of just the so many of his fans just weren't fans anymore. Like they just like all the stuff he had done, all the bodybuilding stuff, you know, all the people that he inspired. So many folks just flipped on him because of his political beliefs and the way he wanted to run a state. And
So was it because
I thought it was because he cheated on his wife.
Republican?
I thought it was
Well, I
because he
know-
cheated on his wife.
Well, I know when he went into politics, a lot of the flipping started to happen.
So it was
Because
because
I
he
voted
was
for him,
Republican.
so
I don't know, Rubik's, what do you got?
Okay, so I'll say this. I actually am not one that ever really sides with the Republican Party because I feel like they exploit people all the time. At the
Agreed.
same time, I can tell you that Arnold Schwarzenegger was not a bad governor. He did a pretty great job, actually.
Okay.
But I feel like
you
if you
remind
did
me of pre-Reagan Republicans. That's what you
because
remind
of
me
the
of.
fact that he was
Mhm.
okay. Reaganomics in general was fucking retarded, and anybody who says that trickle down's ever going to work is a fucking idiot. Just saying, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. But I still remember it being a better time. Same thing with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton had his scandal with Monica Lewinsky. It was still the only time in my entire fucking life that the American society had a surplus rather than a deficit. And at the same time, I can tell you right now, I can hands down guarantee you, Hillary was the one actually running the country. He was over there getting the fucking blowjobs. And the fact that people hated her so fucking much, it's just another one of those things of like, what? I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, you know, she defended somebody back in the day and therefore she's terrible. That's another thing of cancel culture right there. Somebody was a public defender, and because that person was bad and she tried to do her job, now she's bad. That's different from fucking R. Kelly pissing on a 14-year-old and videotaping it.
Ugh.
I mean, those things are completely different things.
So here's the thing that I think in movies and things where you have a bunch of actors, you have a whole crew, you have a bunch of people that are working on a project versus a lone artist. I think that's a different thing because I can tell you right now, I hate Rick Berman, one of the producers of Star Trek. I hate him. He's a misogynistic douchebag. But I love Star Trek and I still will watch it and I still absolutely adore it. And I stand by a lot of the ideology of it. And that also goes with Josh Whedon. We've heard about Josh Whedon's abuses, but it wasn't just Josh Whedon who created those shows. It was the actors, it was the crew, it was the first AD.
Yeah,
it
there's
was
a lot of
it.
fucking movies
The
that
director.
Harvey Weinstein produced that are amazing, but he's a fucking piece of shit.
Kathleen
don't look at
Kennedy in
them-
Star Wars.
I don't look at him. I mean, I don't look at as he's the one who solely created that thing. Whereas I look at J.K. Rowling and I'm like, I love Harry Potter. I will be a Gryffindor till the day I die, but I also can't support you. You're a TERF. I can't support you. Because you hurt other people and you're actively hurting other people. And
So
that's
what
what's
did she do to
awful.
hurt people?
Huh?
What did she do to hurt people?
She's a TERF. She
Okay,
hurts
so explain that.
transgendered. Okay. She basically believes that transgendered people aren't real, that they are what they are, and that they have mental illnesses, and that they're not like trans women aren't real women and trans men aren't real men. And that hurts people. That actually actively is hurting people.
Okay, so that's not necessarily what I've seen. I know where you're coming from, and I know that this is the talking point, and this is kind of what I'm talking about with my community. J.K. Rowling got called out for her Twitter or her tweets saying that I support trans women. I feel that there's a lot of nuance that's similar between us, but we are not necessarily the same. And that's the thing that got her in trouble.
That's not what. No, she actively uses her platform to hurt them. That's what I'm saying. She hasn't
She
stopped.
says, like, don't trust trans people. Don't let them
She
in your bathroom.
hasn't-
That's what you're saying she does.
Yes, absolutely.
Hang on. Okay, so the debate, and I know that got lost when she tweeted that, was the debate was they were
She
trying
hasn't stopped tweeting it. She hasn't stopped tweeting it. Just stop talking.
The debate was whether or not men who aren't biologically men and women who aren't biologically women should be allowed to compete in certain, and that was where
That's just one of the things, but that's not the only thing she has said.
In Britain, they were trying to decide at the time when she initially said it, if they were going to allow like men who aren't biologically men and women who aren't biologically women into certain sports, like, you know, letting a woman play into a man's basketball or football game, or letting you know, and letting people how they identify into sports. And she was saying, I don't support that, because like, say like a man plays with women, often biologically they have an advantage because of the way that a man who is born a man and a woman who's born a woman, because like women have a lower down advantage and men have a upper strength advantage.
And
so
I did research on this, and you take enough hormones for a long enough period of time, your biological chemistry does change.
Okay, but what about a man who's only recently entered the field and only has recently started doing it, who goes into the UFC and beats the shit out of somebody who's a foot shorter than them? Is that okay? Because I feel like that's really that's the crux of this whole thing. And again, I'm not saying that trans women aren't women. I'm just saying that they're not the same exact thing as a cisgender woman. And there should be nothing wrong with that, because my position always been, it's okay to be different. Things are different. You're different than this. That should be okay. It's kind of why the big thing right now, the gotcha question is define a woman. And people say, well, I can't.
Oh, God, not the Matt Walsh thing. Not the Matt Walsh thing.
But I mean, like, it's one of those questions. It's a tough one to answer. If you can't define something, what is your position on it? What would you define a woman as?
A human being.
You know, do you think? Well, okay. Here's my thought process.
They're not different at all. There's nothing different.
Do you think?
I don't know. I kick David's ass all the time. I think it's fine.
Do you think the reason why it's so important is because the rights that people have designated behind it? For example, you know, up until recently, a lot of times, if you were a gay couple and you weren't allowed to get married, you know, if your partner went to the hospital, you might not be able to go visit them, or if they were to pass, you wouldn't be able to help handle their affairs. So it seems to me that maybe a lot of the argument of why it's so important for someone who's transitioned to say, I am now a woman, is because if they don't, they might lose some rights. I mean, could that be a position?
They also might be murdered. Transgender women are more statistically more likely to be harmed.
Who the heck crickets?
I don't know who's making crickets.
I do hear crickets.
That's outside my bedroom window.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so to that argument, yes, there is the statistic that trans women are murdered on a much higher rate than other people. But at the same time, we have people saying that you do not have to say you're trans when you're going on a date. I find that, again, kind of disingenuous. Goes back to the filters. You're not being honest about who you are. There's nothing wrong with being trans. But there's absolutely nothing right about saying, well, I can lie about it and not acknowledge the fact that that's part of my background. You can't.
But they usually get
killed for that I'm all about, but then say, well, no, that's not. I don't have to talk about it. You can't champion it and then also push it under the rug and say it doesn't exist. You can't have it both ways.
I'm not having it both ways. I'm telling you just legitimately why it's harmful for those communities. It's the same thing as saying that gay people aren't real people, that they should be converted, that they should go through conversion therapy. That's not okay. Yes, they are, though. That is a huge thing.
But nobody's saying gay people aren't
gay.
No. Gay people have every right to love just like straight people do, but at the same time, it's a different set of experiences. People
what I miss?
Bullied for being straight.
What I miss?
And what about the AIDS pandemic that was completely swept under the rug? I mean, in the 80s. That was an epidemic.
No,
millions of gay people died. But that's because that's under that same thing, is that they are not real people. That is under the same things. They are mentally ill people.
I'm not saying that trans people aren't real people, and I don't think that J.K. Rowling was saying that trans people
That's what she was saying. I'm telling you, that's what she was saying.
I think
another
that's what you're
episode. Hey, guys,
construing from it.
this is a whole other episode about whether or not gay and trans people are people. All due respect, this is a whole different.
This absolutely is.
Coming back to whether or not you could be friends with someone who might or might not be terrible, I think it actually comes back to cancel culture, right? Like, you know, if society deems you a terrible person, like all of a sudden the society like cancel, nobody can love you anymore. Like, you know, you're horrible. We're gonna kick you out and throw you into the dirt and the cold and you know now. And so like people fight hard to like not get canceled and not be deemed a horrible person, even though some of the things that they do are horrible. But the society is almost like, we're going to drown you and then you're dead to everyone. And, you know,
well, yeah, again, if you can't agree with 100% of everything, then, that one thing, well, no, now you're no longer allowed.
Yeah.
You can't agree with that one thing, so therefore you're terrible.
Well, I think about Al Franken getting kicked out of Congress for like some, you know, inappropriate photos from like 15 years ago.
The guy who said I grab him by the pussy got elected. Go fucking figure.
I mean, and there's also, there's James Gunn who got fired for comments he made 15 years ago when he was young and dumb too. I mean, there are really stupid things, and then that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who use their platform and their power to say things that are actively harmful for a community. And that is what I'm talking about. And that goes to support systems, because you have lots of people who identify with that work, or identify with that person, or identify with that platform. And that's what's harmful. That's what I'm talking about.
I wholly agree. Like Epstein and all those types of guys were allowed to continue doing what they were doing because there were men that were like, well, it didn't happen to me, so, you know, shut up, girly, and go over there. And I watch it happen every day. Like they happen because people go, well, it didn't happen to me, so I'm gonna cancel the person who's complaining. So I mean, it does happen, but at the same time, it's that stuff, you know, that's what happens.
You asked if I would support an artist who I thought was harming a community. No, I wouldn't. That doesn't mean I don't still love Harry Potter. That doesn't mean that I don't still like say, you know, I'm a Gryffindor. You know, I mix bravery with stupidity all the time, but I won't actively go and buy things to support that the creator anymore. That's what I'm talking about, at least in that sense, because that affects a community people I know in, that affects the community of, you know, a good many of my friends that, that is actively harming people.
I think that's the same reason as like my not eating at Chick-fil-A, because I have friends that are gay and I won't support. Or Hobby Lobby.
I don't eat at Chick-fil-A because that fucking chicken sandwich is terrible. But that's
but the nuggets are
vegan, so I don't eat
go to a Hobby Lobby because that's my only local craft store if I want something. And the ironic part is that they actively hate gay people, and they've talked more probably against trans people than J.K. Rowling. And yet, the bitch that's behind the counter cutting my fabric is a transgender girl named Eden. So it's a weird dichotomy where people are just absolutely hypocritical, or they just don't follow what they actually talk about, or whatever the fuck it is.
Are you talking about Joanne's
or
fabric?
it's the person that owns the corporation.
I didn't know that they had.
They're talking. The person that owns the corporation has a certain way of feeling, and then that company's whole persona.
Yeah, I mean, you know that In-N-Out actually has like, scripture on the bottom of all their shit, right? They're also like that.
I heard that was like a false. Like I've seen those pictures, but I mean, like I don't know. Have you ever actually walked in and seen one on a cup? Like yourself,
it's there.
So you yourself have gone in and seen one on there, not just a photo on the internet.
I had a best friend who used to work there. He took me to the fucking company Christmas party. It was a great time.
I mean, but that's also, you've got people who also work for those companies as well. It's not just actively one person. I mean, though Chick-fil-A is really awful, and I wouldn't eat there.
Again, they're gross.
But they're-
I'm not even talking
Well,
about the
I mean,
politics. It's
Sorry.
fucking
Yeah,
gross.
you want mustard? We need another $5.
No thanks. But I'm
Yeah,
just
it's-
saying, like,
for
you
me,
want to
it's
have
the
a support
politics
system.
that trumps the product. The product trumps the product trumps. Sorry, the political view trumps the product, right? So even if it's a product I like, I won't buy it if I know that the money that I'm putting in there is going to actively support something I'm against.
Oh, there was a whole thing with one of these companies. I forget who the fuck it was. I want to say it was like General Mills and Nabisco or whoever it was. There was a huge union strike where people were saying, don't buy these products. And one of those products was like Pringles and Cheez-Its. And that's shit I like to fucking eat. But because I was in support of the whole idea about making a statement to these fucking companies, I'm not buying your buy 3 for the price of $4 Pringles things, even though it's a great deal, because you're doing it because people don't want to buy your products because you're a terrible fucking company. So I believe that that's
Right.
totally true. I have not seen a single Fantastic Beasts movie, by the way. I'm going to let you know that right now.
Neither have I.
I find those to be absolutely abhorrent, terrible things because there wasn't a book. But I do love Harry
It
Potter.
was. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was a book.
Well, I didn't see that book. I thought that was just
It's
in the
actually a pretty good
universe.
movie, too.
I don't know. I could be
No,
wrong.
it's actually. I mean, it's actually based on a book, but that doesn't matter. It's fine. I'm just stating that I have a. It's personal for me because I know people in the community.
Well,
I
I mean,
have
so do I.
friends, and I've actually know someone who was murdered for being transgendered. So that does hit me differently, and that's okay that it hits me differently.
No, I know. I think we need to reduce the stigma around the community and say there's nothing wrong with it. It's still very natural. It's still there. I think there is a difference with letting people compete in sports in that regard because, again, there are actual physical advantages. I've gone into tournaments as a martial artist myself, and they put me up against somebody who's 6'5", and I can only kick them, and they got 5 extra inches than me. I'm going to lose that fucking match. I'm going to lose that match. Because it's unfair. It's not like I'm against somebody my size, but they're in my weight category because I'm fucking fat.
But this is about support systems, and we're talking about right.
You guys are arguing.
Hey,
politics.
so
We're not.
Sorry,
We're
I wanna-
talking about
I-
systems.
I want to ask in like a little bit of the opposite direction. Then, would you support something that maybe you might not necessarily have supported before, but because of what they do, you want to support them? For example, Dick's Sporting Goods. Under 2 different instances. One was about a year and a half ago. There was a school shooting, and Dick's Sporting Goods was the first one to say that they were going to take all guns out of their sporting goods stores. And then even recently with the Supreme
Roe v.
Court
Wade.
change in
Mhm.
Dick's Sports came out and said that if any of their employees lived in a state that didn't support abortion and they needed to have services done, that they would donate a certain amount of money towards them being able to travel to get the procedures done. Now, unfortunately, Dick's is a little more expensive than the store than I would typically shop at. But I will say that I do remember after that happening, when my son was looking for something, he needed some running shoes. We did go into Dick's where I wouldn't have gone into Dick's before. But I was more open to supporting them, even though they were a more expensive shoe.
Please stop.
Are you laughing because they just keep saying Dick's over and over again? Jesus Christ, you 7.
Usually that's
It's
my
the name of
role.
the goddamn store. I didn't name the store.
You know, I
So
I
basically,
really
what
love,
you're saying is that Van, you're saying you love dicks.
I mean,
Hey, you know,
I guess, yeah.
I
that's
get
Good night,
as many
everybody.
dicks, as much dicks as I can.
Yeah, I mean, I will support amazing people who do amazing things. Matthew Patrick, for instance, and Mr. Beast, who I don't really know very well as a YouTuber, but he did this project called Planting Trees, which was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fantastic. And I would, I mean, for that alone, because that was something, you know, that had a good.
I like
Oh,
that
he
we're
is
gonna cry
laughing
with
so
laughter the
hard.
entire fucking episode tonight.
But
just
you know,
started going on.
I know. But you know,
It's all
just-
about the dicks. It always goes back to dicks.
just
I'm
like,
just
you know,
cracking up. That Veronica's
oh,
cracking
so
up.
funny.
Sorry.
It's okay.
You know,
Or someone
another
like Mel Brooks,
organization,
who's fantastic.
Ben
Yeah,
and
I'm
Jerry's
looking at him
is
hitting
known
into her.
for being very charitable and also taking care of their employees, not exploiting their employees. So you know, there are companies out there that are trying to do good things.
There are, but I mean, not everyone is perfect. Sorry, go ahead, V. I apologize.
I
was
do
talking
feel
right over
bad
you, darling.
sometimes, like shopping at Costco, because I know that they don't support their workers and they don't support unions. So there are moments where I feel kind of guilty about doing stuff like that, shopping at different. But I mean,
But you still shop there, though, right?
I still shop there. Oops.
No one's perfect.
And you know, I'm not judging you because I was in goddamn
Okay.
Walmart today. All right, so
Yeah, shame. They're a worse company than Costco. Shame. Apparently, they've changed a lot of their practices recently, but I don't know enough about that. But I will say that I actually a lot of people talk about Starbucks being an evil corporation. I've worked at Starbucks, and they actually pay above minimum wage by a good portion, and they make sure that their employees also have a FICO account. They have health benefits. And they do a lot for their employees, actually. So when I started working for them, I got a whole new different perspective on Starbucks, and they are really important. They really care about sensitivity. They care about taking care of the people around you, and so that changed my opinion on Starbucks greatly.
I prefer Dutch Brothers.
That's fine, sweetie. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I think a lot
like
of
it.
I
variables.
eventually get a free one, right? Like I buy so many, I get a free one. I'll
You
always
do that at Starbucks too.
not that I've
Yeah,
ever.
you have the Starbucks card. You have the
I
Starbucks card.
I don't do the Starbucks card. Sorry.
Well, what's your
I
problem,
also
huh,
find
sweetie?
Starbucks coffee absolutely terrible, but that's just me.
Oh, that's fine. That's just
are we
your
talking
opinion.
about support
Fine.
systems of coffee right now?
Oh my god, you just said
All
about
right, Forrest.
corporations. What the fuck?
Well, okay, so if we find out that
Why
Starbucks
not? You were talking about supporting
Wow.
dicks.
takes care of
Yeah.
its employees, but not the people who farm the coffee, if they get their shit from exploitation of migrant farm workers, is that okay?
No, but you were talking about how, with the whole thing of like a cause versus how they treat their people. I'm just saying, like, it's good with the bad. I'm just saying that when I worked there, I found them to be very supportive of their employees.
So I have a fun fact. I worked for Starbucks all of one day. And I remember they gave me a coffee passport, which gave me a whole dialogue of what to pair with the coffees that they offer there. I've never, ever once had a fucking barista say, would you like to try this mocha chocolate brownie because it pairs so well with your caramel frappuccino? It was the most ridiculous waste of my fucking time ever.
We're not, because barista's not gonna do it. We're just gonna get what you like. You're just gonna take your order.
I just want to put in the fucking coffee, order it up, and there you go. Customer service 101. Put it in the system, make it happen, and there you go.
I also worked for Radio Shack, who just ran their company, who the higher ups ran their company to the ground and did a
You
lot
just
of shady
aged
shady
yourself.
shit.
You do realize that.
No, pretty young. When,
Like
I mean,
saying,
Radio Shack ended like 5 years ago or 7 years
No,
ago.
Radio
so-
Shack ended like
Radio
15
Shack-
Radio Shack
years
died
ago.
a
No,
long
it didn't.
time ago.
No, it didn't. It did
It
not.
died
I
with
worked for them
Circuit
until
City.
2015,
It's
guys.
been gone at least 10 years.
I
Yeah,
worked for
having
them
3
until
stores left doesn't qualify.
2015. No, this is all in
I'm going to look it up right now.
up and down. Oh my god.
Did Radio Shack close?
There are still some franchise stores open.
Yep.
Probably.
But yes, it did. It
Okay, so
did.
I
It
want
was
to
like
ask a
shutdown
question because
1991.
No, guys, I worked for them from 2011, 2012 to
I think they lied to you,
2015.
darling. I think
So 7
that was
years.
Some weird parent company.
Yes, I said
takeover.
5. I was like, wait, no,
They
7
didn't have
years.
them funds to remodel. And it was just an electronics store that said they were Radio Shack. June 1991.
That's when the Tandy
All right, so
company merged with
okay, so
Radio
here's a question for you guys. This is something when we started talking about
work
this
for them, I
earlier.
know.
This was kind of my big. Aubrey, we're moving on.
Whatever, Miss
Let go.
Monarch.
Moving on.
All right. My question was, and this may sound really weird. What is your definition of a friend? We're talking about do we support friends, but I mean, how do we support friends or people that we know, associates, or what is your guys' definition of a friend? Because
So,
as I get older, it's harder and harder. Like the definition seems to change. I used to know, I knew, but I don't know.
I'm not talking about acquaintances. I'm talking about actual friends who have meaning in your life. All of
I
you.
don't know why
You
we-
are all friends who have meaning to me. Therefore, I support you all because you're my friends. I mean, that's just
Absolutely.
that's
So
just
a
how
friend
I
is
roll.
somebody who has meaning in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think friends are who you vibe with. There are different
That
types
too.
of friends. Work friends, because there are people I work with that I absolutely love, but at the same time, I can really hate them on a personal level because they're a hot fucking mess. I still gotta work with them, right? That's different from like a true friend. That's someone who you have deep, meaningful conversations with, and you come to understand deeper levels with each other, and you create this connection. You want to know who a true friend is? Move and ask somebody to help.
Yep.
You move and they help you move. That is a friend.
Not
Everyone
only that,
else is an acquaintance.
and let somebody.
Oh, sorry, my mom's cat's sick and I gotta go somewhere. I can't. Oh, I gotta work.
Let
There are-
somebody
there are
know you're in the
legitimate
hospital
reasons.
or your spouse
There
is in
can
the
be,
hospital too.
for the
There's
most part,
legitimate reasons. There are legitimate reasons. Like I told someone I was going to help them move, and on the day something came up, and that's legitimate. That's a really legitimate thing, and that doesn't mean that I'm not their friend.
but you
Like,
still prove it otherwise. You still
Yeah.
spend time with that person. You're
Yeah.
not using them for your own benefit.
no, because I wouldn't. No, I would not call someone my friend if that was the case.
To answer your question, Van, when I thought of this, I meant real friends, true friendship. Not just an acquaintance, not just somebody you see at work. A
Right.
real friend.
I guess in my adult life, I've had instances where people who I had been friends with, or had been friends with for a very long time, did me dirty in ways that I didn't even know to look for because I wouldn't expect it from that person. So it's really gotten me to question in my older age, what is a friend, and how do you know when you have a friend?
I'm sorry that person betrayed you. That is
Well, I've
really
had
awful
several of
them.
them, so that's unfortunately kind of what has gotten me to design. In fact, I know that before, and she's not even on here to defend herself. It was actually I don't want to say an argument, but almost like a fight that Veronica and I got into one time because I told her I had a lot of trust issues around people. She was making some comment that I needed to open up more or something like that, and I was like, well, I've had a lot of experiences where I'm not as trusting anymore as I used to be. And so therefore it's more difficult for me to open up on a personal level than, when we're just talking about Star Wars or talking about work or whatever it is.
Yeah, I could get that. I understand that.
So I kind of wonder, because there are people like, that I still go out and support, although, I don't think I would ask them for help because I've just gotten to a point in life where I don't really trust other people with things that are important.
I think
Does that make sense?
Yes, and I think a good defining point where, back to your question of, what to us is a friend. Have you grown with said individual? Have you been with said individual? Have you experienced something together? Have you had a disagreement? Have you been able to look past each other's differences and still be friends at the end of that day? Those are things that I believe are really, really important. If
Right.
you are able to look past all the bullshit and still
Owned by the same
just see them, then yeah, I'd say that's a pretty valid friendship.
Real quick, yeah, I agree with you, Forrest. I agree with you. I was just looking at these chats here, but someone said Pete's was better, and I'm like, they're actually owned by the same company. Teavana owns both of them.
Damn it, we're back to coffee again.
No, I'm with you though too. Like,
Hey, I love me some coffee.
We could go back to Dick's.
Something with what Van was saying. I can say this is a drag queen. Like you go into the drag circle and you meet a lot of these.
It was
these
2015, guys. I know I was there.
You click and you whatnot and whatnot. But at some point, if it's a competitive thing, when people start taking a friendship to a competitive level, that's when things start to fall apart. That's when people start to do each other dirty. I remember one of my best friends in high school actually just completely destroyed me one day because I had gotten this acting scholarship. We both went to the same high school. It was one of those things that was available. I was one of 3 candidates and I won. And I called him all excited and happy and said, oh my God, I got the scholarship. I got the one for this. I'm so excited. He was also an actor. His parents were the ones that were like, why didn't you go and compete for that? And then he felt the need to tell me one day, you know, if I would have tried for that, I would have won it. And it really hurt me because it's like, you know, A, you didn't. B, I did. And you're going to make me feel bad about it? Because why?
Right.
What's the purpose of that? And again, we have all of these things where people like project their own insecurities on other people. Where, you know, because they're doing well, suddenly you got to tear them down. Or because, you know, they're needing help that you're going to put them down. A real friend is someone who cares about you because they care about you, because you've had that connection. And it doesn't matter if, you know, you just need a shoulder to cry on, or if you need to spend a few hours with somebody. They're going to spend that time with you and make that time for you, because when you're around people that enrich your soul, you want to be around those people. That's one of the things I love about this, right? Like this whole thing that we do ever since you've had me on, Van, has been one of those things that enriches my soul, because I'm allowed to like speak my mind amongst a bunch of people who are from different backgrounds that might not necessarily agree with me all the time. And we have the ability to say, you know, I don't believe that, but I can still see a point, and we can still move on from it, whether or not we agree to disagree or not. I think that those are very mature boundaries that people need to make with each other. And moving on in adult life, you will find fewer and fewer true friends. A lot of acquaintances, a lot of people who are passing moments in your life. The true friends are the ones that last like 7 to 8 years and then some. And those are the ones that are for life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's true. And just so you know, even if I yell and I disagree with you guys, doesn't mean that I don't love you. Just so you know. Even if I get really passionate about something, I mean, honestly, the fact that you guys are getting this from me means that I at least trust you with this.
Hey guys,
I'm not a super open person.
Yes, Dave.
Veronica's trying to get back in. I just saw her.
Okay, sorry, this is my bad.
God, get it together, man. Jesus.
Yay.
See, I have your back, Veronica.
Thank you.
I'm supportive.
You. That is a true.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't.
I heard what you said earlier, Van. And like to give another example is something recently happened, and I won't go into detail, but you personally called me and you were like, "I'm still here." You're like, "I haven't said anything about what happened, but I'm still here." So like that to me is a friend. Like, you know, sometimes even when you'd rather have like someone out there, like, defending you and like being at your side, sometimes even quiet support it makes a friend. So like that's why I consider it a friend.
And you know what's kind of funny for people that watch this show, and by the way, Elijah, what's up? Thank you for tuning in. For people that watch this show and don't necessarily know, you see us come on here, but during the week when the show is not happening, we have a chat board that is like literally, you would think all of these people worked in the same office together. Like, I think I communicate or see more happen on that board than I do my coworkers that I'm with 8 hours a day at my
It's
job.
miles long. I swear to God, it's miles long. But you know what? Y'all are like the folks I run to when shit just hits the fan. It's like
Yeah, because I
I
mean,
can't with the rest of the world right now. I
a-
can't with
as
my job right now. I swear I can't.
But
and
I
I
mean,
mean
think
it
about it
like,
this
you
way.
know, can I say that?
Oh, go ahead, Aubrey. But
I was just gonna say, like with the incident, I was like, V, you just give me the word. I'll come over there with you. I will go do, and I mean that. I do mean that. You know, so I really do consider a lot of you my friends, and I would, you know, like, you know, so that's really important. It's really important to have that backbone. That's really a support system.
And you know, I think it's very odd or funny when you think about like, well, how do friends happen or how do friends occur? Because look at everybody in this group, right? The only reason everybody's here is because I know all of you through different areas of my life.
Sure.
But the chance that these, you know, 5 or 6 people would come together on, you know, on any other basis, it's almost like the people
Like at a
you meet
Starbucks.
at your job, right? Right. It's like the people that you meet at your job or randomly, you know, somebody else has put you together, but you have worked together to make it a friendship or to make it a collective. You know, before I put everybody in this group, most everybody here didn't know each other. I know Aubrey and David would have known each other. You know, obviously I know all of you, but for the most part, most people didn't know other people here. But if you were to go to the chat group and look at it now, it looks like all of you have been friends for the last 15 years and, you know every intimate secret about each other.
Right.
I think
Or
that's
so you
what-
think.
Oh, I definitely agree because I wouldn't trust anybody else with a face swap of me with Black Widow.
That was sexy.
Now you just said this. You
Blackmail.
just
Hey,
put it
I
out
only,
there.
well, I honestly kind of thought that Veronica was going to have Mezzo put it up or something like that.
No, but
Yeah.
it's my phone background now.
Oh, God.
No.
See,
you
that
know
is
what?
that is the true friendship there. That is definitely true friendship.
Oh, wasn't it?
You have that as your phone background? Seriously?
God. It's about
No, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what the test of friendship is. When I fly my ass out there one day, like just at complete random, I want to know which one of y'all is going to put me up. Because
I got you, brother.
Oh yeah, I definitely got a cow.
You don't mind if you don't mind sleeping on the floor, buddy. I got you.
I have a whole bedroom.
All I have to do is let my housemates
Just
know.
remember to fly into Sacramento Airport, not San Francisco.
Yeah.
Or Oakland.
Driving 2 hours.
Well, I'm only 5 minutes away, well, 10 minutes away from Oakland.
No, actually, mixed up. We have a
Which way you
guest
go?
room. I'd stay in the guest room. You'd stay in my room. It's fine.
Yeah. It'd be for a whole freaking week. It'd be
Here's a
whole
real
week.
question for you. Here's a question. What
Uh-oh,
is
okay.
that one interaction that was completely by chance that you made one of the best friends of your life?
Oh man.
Van, go first on that one.
Oh
Mhm.
no, somebody else needs to go first. I need to think on that one.
I can go first.
Everybody's like, pick me, Van. I'm your best friend.
I'll go. I'm on the big
No.
screen.
Well,
All right. So
He
one
did
of
it
the
all.
best friends I've ever met is my biggest fan, Kimberly. She's been in the comments here on the show before. So with her and I, she's like, you know, old enough to be my mother, essentially. She's got a daughter damn near my age. But I happened to meet her as a result of working where I was at, and she had seen me in a musical. So I was working one day, just completely unassuming, and I have this woman come up and she goes, "Were you Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid?" And I'm like, yes, I was. "Oh my gosh, can I take your picture? Can you come over here and meet my niece?" And ever since then, it sparked this very interesting friendship where she's just incredibly supportive of everything I do. She's always one of my biggest, you know, voices out there. If she's in a crowd, you're gonna hear it say, "Yeah!" like super very loud. She's just that type of person. But she's one of the most sweet, genuine, best people I've ever met in my life. And we've bonded in a way that I can't even imagine happening again. Like it's one of those things that bridged decades between us. You know, she's a staunch lesbian. I'm a gay drag queen, and yet we're like closest than anything else.
Aw.
So I mean, those things happen. You have those chance moments where somebody interacts with you and they'll recognize you off the street and be like, "Oh my God, I saw you over here," something like that. So like something like that. What's another example for one of you that it's like some random happen chance thing that you guys connected over something else and it created this friendship?
I will say really quickly because I just thought of one really quickly, but it actually concerns you, Rubik's. Right? How did I get to meet you? I met you randomly because somebody suggested you for an interview that I wanted to do, and we had so much fun at that interview. I was like, "Hey, we just started this brand new show on Friday nights. I think you should come on." And you just lit up the whole performance. So I mean, there's a good example of somebody I met randomly. What was that?
You and I were random over Facebook. Do you remember how?
This was for you coming in as a director, right? Well, no, because we were talking before that, and because I knew you had background experience in stage, was why I asked you about that.
This is
another one. God damn, I hate my gloves.
So it happens. I was looking for a photo shoot with a friend, and I wanted a Leia lightsaber, and I was looking for one, and I found like this it was like an advertisement, like a graphic advertisement, and I'm like, okay, so I see that, and then there was a live video of them at the Kyber Cave. This is like early days of Kyber Cave. Oh, cool. And I messaged the store, and of course somebody else was running the Facebook, probably more than Van at the time. I won't name names. And I started the conversation, and then the conversation died. And like 2 months went by, and I saw another live video, and I was like, okay, so they're still up, but they're ignoring me. And I messaged, like, I still have the message. I was like, look here, you, like, why would you ignore me? I'm a paying customer. And Van answers. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm just willing to sell you a lightsaber. Like, let's talk. And it turned into talking about the show. And I was like, I noticed that your show is going and you could use some production value up. And let's talk. I've got experience. And so it went from there. Like, I think a couple of weeks later I came to the store, and the rest is history. I think that was like 2020, 2019.
Right. Wow. Yeah. It is amazing. And I know I met David and Aubrey through the store. And then Aubrey was another. This is another weird thing about connections too. Aubrey, we actually had another connection through Southern California with Henry.
Yep.
So Henry was somebody, and in fact, I'm not sure if that's how I met you. Was Henry was coming up to be an instructor, and you're like, oh wait, that's my homie, and he's like coming to the shop.
He's actually my mentor. Yeah. He's actually my teacher, one of my teachers. Yeah. So he was one of the 4 teachers I've had that taught me how to fight. So that's how we met. That's how I met Van, and that's actually how I met David later. But that was exactly how that happened, because I was closer than Henry. But yeah, that's how I met you. Was through Henry.
Yeah, I remember meeting you, Van. I was just happening to be driving by your store and saw the lightsabers out in the window out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, ooh, lightsabers. Being the Star Wars fan that I am, and I came in there and I met Ezra, and he was talking about that you guys would duel sometimes. The next time I came in there was the time I met Aubrey. That was the first time her and I crossed blades.
Yep.
Right.
And I met Henry.
You have a friend that's not in this room? Jesus.
So I'll tell you about how I met the person who got me into swords, actually. Like, really got me into swords. It was Japanese class. It was my first day. It was our first day of Japanese class. I was 18 at the time. Just fresh into college. And he's in there, and I'm like, this guy looks really familiar. Where do I know this guy from? And so it was break, and I was like, you look really familiar. Have I seen you somewhere before, or do I know you from somewhere? He goes, that's what I say to myself every morning when I look in the mirror. It's like, wow, that was really quick, actually. Whoa, okay. So then we started talking, and they had this pair. We were got into pairs, and so we decided to be each other's partner. And I'm like, all right, what am I gonna say that's cool? And it was like, introduce yourself and then say what you like in Japanese. So I went to the teacher and I'm like, how do you say fight in Japanese? Like, I like to fight. And so she was like, oh, fight to wa daisuki desu. So I was like, so I didn't tell him at all what I was going to say. And so I was like, honban wa Samantha-san desu. Fight to wa daisuki desu. And he's like, you like to fight? I was like, yeah. So after he said it, he like slids over and he goes, so you like to fight, huh? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, what do you like to do? How do you like to fight? I'm like, well, I've always been interested in swords. He's like, do you want to have a duel after class? What? Really? I have swords in my back seat. You want to go? Like, yeah, I want to go. So we had a duel right after class. And it was sealed after that. Friendship was sealed. He became my best friend. Then became the love of my life. But yeah, that's how we met.
I was gonna say, I think that was a hit. He's going on you. If a guy saying,
he wasn't married. He was married at the time, and I had a boyfriend. So it was just
I got
like
swords in my car. I got swords in my van.
I got swords in the backseat. He had a Honda. Yeah, it was a Honda Accord. No, it wasn't. It was a Ford Focus. Got the Honda Civic afterwards. But yeah. Anyway, the great bomber.
God, I miss taking Japanese.
I know.
Why does Matt Torres keep asking how weed is in Sacramento?
I don't know. We're not
Humboldt County, darling.
Rio Vista Farms isn't that bad, I guess.
Keep the weed.
Actually, I've got a great connect. He's not from Sacramento. He's up in the foothills. He's a good, close personal friend of mine. I'm the go-to between. So you hit me up, I'll get you some good shit. It's called Platinum Sherbet.
But yeah.
Also, one of my new friends I've made by a random connection. Fun story. I was at the Lodi Pride. It's the second annual Pride, and it's after the festival. And I'm walking outside, getting ready to go, and I see this boy over with a couple of other people go, "Hey, beautiful." I'm like, "Oh, he must be talking to me." So I scurry over.
Yeah.
And we just get to talking, and he goes, "Hey, you smoke weed?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." So he pulls this out, and it's the most prettiest purplish, like crazy good bud I've ever seen. I'm like, "Oh my God, I need this in my life." So I get his number, and since then we've become very close friends. I've hung out with him on multiple occasions. We've gotten to know each other a lot better. And then outside of that, he's one of those short boys I find absolutely scrumptious. I call him Scrappy. He's full of puppy power.
Oh God, no. Not Scrappy.
Little buff thing. His name's Mitchell. Oh, he's gorgeous. I love it.
I don't know if that's a California thing or if it's the same in Texas and everywhere else, but you get yourself a good weed connect, dude, and you just kind of like usually it's never just like, okay, I'm stopping by. I'm gonna
life until you find a better one.
Usually smoke a joint before they roll out.
Oh, you want to do a dab?
The guy I was currently dating, I met through a Zoom call.
That's fun.
That's really random.
That must have been one hell of a Zoom call. That's all I can say.
It was a creative market. Actually, he didn't have his sound wasn't working, nor was his video, so I didn't even see.
Did you ask him how tall he was?
He's 5'2".
David, I'm letting you know, I don't care if you're 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. I think you're sexy as shit.
There you go.
Well, thank you for that.
The other side, play on the other side for a while.
I mean, I dress up nice, right? Right? Good filter.
It is a great filter. I love it.
We're supportive of our friends here, right?
You like it?
But yeah, going back to the filters thing, yeah, he says he's short, and I believe him. He's 5'2". He's adorable.
No.
I've seen him. We Skype all the time. So we just Skyped actually right before the podcast. So
Oh, did you now?
we did.
So what did I say? So
Hey, we've
And
heard
that's
from everybody except Forrest. Forrest, what?
Yes, Forrest, please.
You have to have a story for us, right?
Mine's a sad story that ended up okay. But no, I was in the Saber community about 2.5, maybe 3 years. I was introduced to it by one person, and I really connected with him because he was just like a freaking great guy. You know, he was like going through a real rough patch with his wife, and like I kept on pushing, like, you know, stay together and you know, make sure it all works out, and you got a daughter and she's really great. And just one day I took a commission. I took a sound font commission from somebody who he just hated. Like, he just freaking hated this person. And I mean, it was really easy. It was an easy commission. And actually, my wife just had a flat tire, and the money I only charged the guy enough to pay for a new tire for my wife's car. Well, anyway, this dude saw this as a complete betrayal of our friendship, complete and utter. And my mom passed, and the day after my mom passed, this dude kicks me to the curb and is like, "You're a traitor, you're a Judas, you're a piece of shit, you're a scumbag."
For what?
And because I took a commission, I did a font commission for somebody he hated. So literally the day after my mom died, he just kicked me to the curb. Just like that. He just flushes 2.5 years of friendship completely down the crapper. Like, this dude was on video literally crying to me about how his wife was probably going to leave him and all this other stuff. And I'm like, you know, yeah, I took a font commission and gone. So anyway, a few weeks go by. I'm already in like a stupidly low point, because, you know, my wife's father passed 3 days later. 2 days later, 2 days later, my mom dies, and then one of my best friends just kicks me to the curb the day after that. So I'm already not doing great. At random, I get a phone call from one of my now very best friends, Chris. He calls me up, and he's asking me about a font I did. I don't even remember the conversation hardly. I just remember the part where he stopped me in the middle of me talking about it. And he goes, "Brother, are you okay?" And I just broke, like, right there. I remember I was at freaking Burger King. Like, I was walking, I bought breakfast, and I walked it outside, and I had him on the Bluetooth, and I got in the car, and we were talking about fonts, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I just broke right there in the parking lot. And I'm like, "No, dude, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. This, and this just happened." He's like, "Holy shit, man. Are you serious? Who was it?" And I told him who the Saber guy was, and he's like, "What a scuzzbag piece of shit." Like, you know, yeah, pretty much. Following that, like, he just kept up with me, and eventually he showed up here because it turns out his mom lives here. He lives in Montana. His mom lives here. So one day out of the blue, he's like, "Dude, I drove my truck down. You want to meet up?" And I'm like, "Freak yeah." So we met in between his mom's place and my place at this like deluxe burger diner, which to this very day, when he drives down, we always meet up at that burger place. He brought his daughter down. I took my son with me, and now my son and his daughter are like freaking best friends.
Aww.
And yeah, but yeah, he's one of my very, very best friends in the world. And, you know, it's just, it worked out really well. And I guess to kind of float that on the support system thing, yeah, there's other font makers that he like enjoys. And even at the time, like when he met me, he was very clear. Yeah, there's other font makers I enjoy. But as time has progressed, you know, as he got to know me, I would say he supports me for me, not just because of what I do. He likes what I do, but I think now that we're like best friends, he just kind of supports me for me, you know,
That's
and
awesome.
and that's it kind of has to go beyond the hobby, you know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it worked out really well.
I could say another one that all of us are fortunate to know that kind of was a similar way was John Michaels. He was just an actor that I interviewed over a show I was obsessing over at the time. And, you know, I technically work for Jeffrey Giuliano, but on a personal level, John Michael and I had a lot more similarities. As many of the regular viewers here know, he is often on here as a contributor as well. So
Hmm.
funny how the world works out sometimes. You have people that come into your life that have no real reason for being there. They just came in randomly and somehow they didn't leave.
I met C. Andrew Nelson through you, a fan, where he was actually on the show, and we used to do this thing called sound checks. I don't know if you guys do those anymore, but we used to do this thing called sound checks because during the pandemic, a lot of people would be like, oh, my speaker doesn't work, or my webcam's not working, and I would do like 48 hours before the show to like give you a chance to go to I don't want to say Radio Shack, like whatever electronic store you need, Best Buy.
Dude, Radio Shack was open till 2015. Oh my god, I worked there. In San Bruno and in San Jose. In oh my
It's
gosh,
the Mandela
okay.
effect.
Anyway, so we
No.
would give people a 48-hour chance to go and get it fixed, whatever they needed to do. So I sound checked C. Andrew Nelson at the time, and we just got talking. I asked him the most random question, and then he was like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Veronica," and he was like, "That's my wife's name." And it triggered like this. I was only supposed to sound check for 5 minutes. We ended up talking for 45 minutes, and then we talked
Right.
an hour after the show. And ever since then, he's been a good friend of mine. And I've been fortunate to kind of like get a chance to work side by side with him recently, and so it's been an interesting journey. I met him through Kyber Cave, and he's been a good friend. So
Right.
hi Drew, if you ever watch this.
What up, Drew? We love you, Drew. Kyber Cave, the place where all paths start from, huh?
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Most.
Fours, are you ready
Yeah.
to start your wrap up there?
Yeah. So, great show, everybody. I think we did a pretty good job of sticking to all the topics.
One time in forever.
Some
I
of
would
us.
I would like to give Rubik's the biggest congratulations for holding that voice for the entire show.
Woo!
Didn't break it.
Get a chance to do a
once.
character. I'm gonna do it right.
That voice was
Started
like
with
glitter.
Bane. I'm doing it now with Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, and I'm gonna stick with it with my next one. I don't know what the fuck it's gonna be, but we'll try. Anytime I can do it, I will.
Well, since you're already on the screen, go ahead and wrap it up with you first.
Oh fuck! What am I wrapping up?
You broke it.
Character.
You broke it.
I mean,
You actually broke it.
no, I didn't. Like a fake. So I'm always excited to be a part of this. I'm always excited to be on here. I think that we do delve into other deeper things than we normally could. I'm very appreciative that we have a group of people here that have multiple different perspectives that can discuss it without hating one another. That's not something that, given the Queen community, is just toxic as shit. Outside of that, you can catch me every Wednesday night here at Lodi with my show. It's been starting to really flourish. I've really recently gotten in touch with some of the people who have been doing the Pride events here in Lodi, and they want me to become a more integral part of it as a result of me being a local queen here. So I'm very excited to be that. It's been an interesting turning point in the last couple of months. There's a lot of people who did me very wrong that are now being called out from other people for doing them wrong. And now it's culminating in this whole thing where like accountability might actually be a thing, where what they've been doing that I called out a long time ago is like, hey, yeah, they're problematic. They're causing all these problems in the community. They're gatekeepers. They're doing all this nonsense. It's now coming to light, and it might actually turn into something where they're held accountable. I think that's amazing that karma's kind of coming around finally. I now have things looking more up on my own side, and I'm doing the things that I love. I live where I am. I work close by. I have a job that pays me well. I have my hobbies like this or my show that enrich my soul, and I'm very grateful for them. I think that all of us need that kind of support in our life. Do what you do what you love. Have people around you who love you for you, and even if you don't necessarily agree 100% of the time, you can kind of see eye to eye most of the time.
Perfect. Dave.
Hey. Like I started off with the show, I'm going to end with the same perspective here. I'm just happy that it's Friday and the weekend is here.
Woo!
Don't really have a whole lot extra to say. I guess we're going to be changing times to an hour earlier now, right?
We forgot to talk about that. Yeah.
By the way,
I'll be
Next
able to
week.
continue. I'll be able to continue doing the show, but I'll be starting an hour late. So
It's okay. All right.
But
so you're coming in for the hot topic. That's what I'm hearing.
oh yeah, and I'm
Hot
all
topic?
about
What?
and I'm all about sideways comments and dirty humor.
I think David just likes
Aubrey.
Here for the dick jokes.
Here for the dick jokes.
I mean, you were the
and
one
the
that
tit
was
jokes.
talking all about the dicks earlier. So
Yeah,
don't
but I
know if
started
he's
that off
exactly
with supporting breasts, right? So I mean friends.
So you're our
Aubrey.
bra of the show.
Oh yeah, apparently
I'm the
it's
bra of the show.
You're the
What's up, bro?
bra.
Okay, well, we're moving right along with that.
I got your back, bro. I got
Oh
your
my
bra
God.
back.
He's got your front and back.
I was gonna say, I don't think you know how bra works there, Dave.
Aubrey,
I think I gave him even more concussions this week. I need to protect your head, buddy.
Thump, thump, thump.
Here we go, done.
Help me.
Dun. Okay.
Hey, if
I'm
you
on
do
the
shaving a haircut on my dome, I'm gonna be pissed.
I'm not bad. I'm just throwing this.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
All right, what you got for your
Okay.
show, Aubrey?
I'm an actress. I'm a singer. You can go and find me on Spotify. I just finished 2 new songs with the new band BYL. We're gonna drop stuff soon-ish. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm on Facebook and YouTube and all the things.
V.
All the things.
All the things.
How are you still crying with laughter? Jesus Christ.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, Veronica. Dicks and bras.
Okay. Tomorrow is Nerdalism. In fact, we have our very own John D. Michael on as a guest. Yay!
Woo!
When am I gonna be on as a guest, V?
You can come on anytime.
Oh, I know. Might actually be able to come on tomorrow if my thing got canceled.
I know. That was another inside conversation that we all had where John was like, I'm not feeling good, and Aubrey's like, I'll be on. So, Aubrey, you're awesome.
I'm here to help out always.
So yeah, I'm on Nerdalism. We're going to be doing some other shows pretty soon.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a lot awesome coming up. That's pretty much it right now. Not everything I can talk about. The snipers will come out and get me if I say too much right now.
You don't want that, so don't say
yeah.
anymore.
yeah, see the little red dots on my forehead right now. So other than that, check out Nerdalism tomorrow. John D. Michaels, he is always awesome and a lot of fun to talk to.
That's at 6 p.m. Pacific, right?
That is 6 p.m. Pacific time. And on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and we're gonna add a few more pretty soon, hopefully. Other than that, check out Nerdalism. That's pretty much it for my wrap up. I just want to say you guys are the best. There's been moments where the people that I never expected would leave my side that I thought were friends weren't, and then all of a sudden I find a bunch of new friends that I never imagined would be. So thank you so much.
We love you
Bunch
too.
of random strangers.
We love you too.
I'm
Man.
so touched.
All right. I am Ark Excel with the Kyber Cave. Make sure to check out this show every Friday night at 8 p.m. now. We did a poll on the website, and a couple people tuned in. So we'll help our East Coast viewers get to see the show an hour early. That means I guess it starts at 11 instead of midnight, you guys. So yeah, make sure to check us out every Friday night. This Sunday night, we have David Keenan. He is a cosplayer and a clown for several years. So we are going to learn about clowning and cosplaying this Sunday. And we are only like 12 people away from giving away our next saber on our Sunday show. When we give away a saber there, it's from TXQ. So those aren't, the ugly sabers or the nice sabers. And lastly, make sure to check out kybercave.com. We have lots of sabers there, lots of deals. We have, I just spent, I don't know if I said it on this show last week or on Saber Rabbit. I just spent like $300 buying little Lego action figures of every character I could find that carries a lightsaber. So if you are into Legos and you are looking for obscure saber carrying characters, we should have those there very soon. Within the next week, I think, is when they are due in. So check out kybercave.com.
I feel like I need to do like a weird stop motion. You know how they do the Lego stop motion of like lightsaber fights?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are awesome.
We should make little stop motion movies for the channel.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Only I could do
All right, wait. Use us with the man.
Yes, the man himself.
I am the one and only Fours. If you are in the lightsaber community or you go to Kyber Cave and buy yourself a saber, I implore you, please go to FoursFX.com and pick up a sound font that would go in one of these devices. You could also find my stuff and the work of several other very talented artists at saberfont.com. And if you're into just some nerd talk, tech talk from some retro gamers, I would say subscribe to The Helmet Fire and check out the podcast that I'm currently part of called All the Spice. Yes, that is a little take from an old Randy Savage thing, but All the Spice. And we're doing that. It's a brand new show that we're just talking a lot of techie nerd crap. And in the very near future, I'll probably do it here, but in other, maybe somewhere on my channel, I'm going to start doing very short, fun fan dub videos. I'm getting back into amateur voice acting. I'm going to start putting my voice to current animation and see how it all works out. And I would love the feedback. So, from everybody on the screen,
voice for television.
we will see you all next week. Be sure to check out Saber Rattle on Sunday. And may the Fours be with you.
And with you.
Bye.
And with you.
Here we go.
Oh
And
my
we're back.
god. My
That
my
was
opening, I think, or my closing for Nerdalism sounds similar to that.